Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this exciting presentation on the scientific breakthrough of athletic performance and rehab in the ever-growing world of BFR, blood flow resistance training. Many of you have heard of this or you've experienced it, but there's a lot of people on tonight that you're hearing about this for the first time. Let me go to Paul here and find him real quick and unmute him because he's one of the elite trainers. He's in the Midwest. He trains endurance type athletes, and he's going to share with you not only what he's seen, but what he's seeing on some of his athletes. So Paul, excited to have you on here and for you to share with the endurance world, which is kind of different than the other worlds we've heard tonight, you know, what the bands are doing.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Thanks to everybody else that has spoken already. Part of what I want to say is ditto to everything they've said. I've seen those same things happen. Part of my business, I do some rehab, I do some coaching, I do some training with some youth and some individuals who can't do traditional training with exercise because of age or injury, that kind of stuff. And everything that you've heard so far tonight, I've seen that exact same thing happen. Talking about the endurance side, I have a bunch of crazies, and I think I might be king of the crazies. And the crazies are the guys and girls who want to go out and run for an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours, and think that's a good warm up. A lot of these individuals have been running for a long time. They've been cycling a long time. They want to do long distance triathlons, and their bodies are thankfully holding up, but some of them are not holding up well. I've got one individual who's had chronic Achilles stuff off and on. He happens to be 65, and he's complaining about some Achilles tendon stuff. I've been with him a couple of years. The first couple of times of going through this, it took us a while to get through the injury piece, the pain piece, building him back, getting this conditioning back and so forth. He's just gotten over it recently, and it took us all of about 6 weeks to get through that process. That would normally take us much longer than that. And when I'm saying getting back, I'm not talking about he's now pain-free. I'm talking about getting back to running the distances and the paces that he would like to do. Where 6 weeks ago, he was having trouble getting out of bed and taking those first few steps to go to the bathroom and so forth. As I want to bring these in, one of the things I've done on myself, or that I really want to test it before I bring it to my clients and the athletes that I coach and train, is what does it feel like for me? And so when I go out and do my runs, that takes me about 2 miles before I'm really warmed up. And then about that place, I'm like, oh, it feels great. And if I don't do a 6 to 10 mile run, I feel like I haven't really done a whole lot. And so the first time I got the bands, we're talking to Mike, and he's like, Paul, you really won't want to do much more than, maybe 2 miles. And I'm nodding my head and I'm smiling. I'm like, oh, okay. Thinking, of course, I'm going to put these on and I'm going to go, get at least 3 miles in. So I put them on the first time and I take off. And I get the first half mile in, and I'm like, oh, okay, I feel that working. I'm warmed up now. And my warm up, what I'm talking about, is how my body feels, where I would normally feel at 2.5, maybe 3 miles. I'm feeling that in the first half mile of, okay, now I'm ready. I got to the mile and I was like, oh, okay, that's good. I'm looking down, I'm normal pacing, normal heart rate. I'm like, we're going to be okay. And I had planned to go 3 miles, like I'd said earlier. And we get to about 1.5 miles and I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's work on getting back. And so we turned around, and that turned into about a 2.25 mile run, and my legs were done. It's all I really wanted. My heart rate was about where it would normally be if I was doing a 6, 7 mile run in that place. Take the bands off, and it was one of those eye-opening things of like, I can't believe I just had that workout in that short amount of time. And my brain just started going, okay, if I can get that same workout and I have to do all the pounding, how much time am I saving? What am I doing in the body? That kind of sort of thing. And I'm like, okay, well, let's see how this progresses. This has been a couple of months of doing that piece of it. I'm now running, and like I said, I've been running a lot of years, and maybe this is, maybe it's mental because maybe I'm king of the crazies, but I'm running anywhere from 45 to a minute faster per mile for everything that we've been doing under about 10 miles right now, which is nothing's changed in my training, nothing's changed in my strength training, nothing's changed in my diet. The only thing I've done differently is use these bands. And so with an N of 1, and I can tell you, for me, that's what's happened. So I've started incorporating that with some of my clients and so forth. Some of them that are the more user-friendly ones, if you will. Some of them would be more open to those things. And they're starting to see those same sort of gains. Another example, I went on the bike, and I've been cycling for a while, and I know what my wattage is, my power output, and what my heart rate's supposed to be, kind of know my pacing. So we get on the trainer, we're doing some of this workout, and I decided, okay, we're going to try the bands on this workout. And normally if we're doing an hour, hour and a half of cycling training, that's 20 minutes, it's not going to be enough. So I've done this after the run, but I still don't really get it yet. I still don't really understand it's only going to be this short amount of time. Put the bands on, start doing the workout, and I'm usually using about a 10 to 15 minute workout, warm up in this workout. That warm up was about enough to get me where my legs felt like I was at the end of my normal workout. By 20 minutes, and I'm gonna say 20 minutes because I want you to think that I really made the 20 minutes. It was more like 15, but my legs started feeling, that fatigue place. And so really not understanding it, we have each week on the weekends, we have these rides that we kind of compare and race each other. And so there was some comparable pieces going on. Within 2 weeks, I'm putting out 25 more watts than what I've been putting out previously, which means my speed's going up, my heart rate at the same time. I'm not working harder. My body's performing better. My heart rate was actually 5 beats lower, and I'm putting out 25 watts higher. And that'll happen within the first 2 weeks. And I'm looking at this, if it really wasn't me doing it, where I can feel what's going on, I can see what's going on, and have that history of knowing what my body normally feels like, I'm not sure I would truly believe it. But those things have progressed, and my speed has gone in the last 2 or 3 months from 19 to 21 mile an hour, where I'm anywhere right now between 21 and 24, depending on what the course is out on the road and what we're doing and so forth. So it's been a lot of fun adding these bands pieces, and I'm 53. I've got a lot of clients that are not 53 who enjoy trying to beat coach, and I enjoy not letting them do that. These B3 bands are helping me maintain some of those pieces. And it's been a lot of fun watching that happen. I've got my parents on here, and some of you may know that that when you talk to your parents about certain things, and you may have some knowledge and so forth, but you're still their son, and so they still see you sometimes as that boy growing up, or that younger individual. And so sometimes talking to them about, hey, mom, dad, I think this could help you. Sometimes they don't always listen. This has been one of the things where thankfully they've listened. I got a story for both mom and dad. Mom might be queen of the crazies. That's maybe where I got it from, but mom's riding a moped and fell and damaged her shoulder. And mom's not 53. How about that? Fell and damaged shoulder, has some surgery on it. It hurt her hip, has some surgery on it. She's going to rehab, and I'm talking to her about getting some movement going and trying to help this rehab and speed it along. And I'm several hours away from her. I can't really see what's going on, but she's talking about what she's doing in rehab. And I'm like, Mom, you need something more. Try these bands. It's just not working. She's telling me the therapist is talking about how motion's not really there. It's kind of stuck. She's considering sending her mom back to see the surgeon because something's just not right. Maybe they need to go back in and make a tweak, or edit something in there, and maybe he missed something. Mom, try these bands. So the bands arrived. She got them that morning. We're talking on the phone here. Just do this, Mom. Put them on. Just go for a walk. Get to some burn. Mom is not an individual who works out. She's active, but she doesn't work out. So I'm trying to explain to her the burn. So she puts them on, and she's going, and she's really not getting the burn. But I'm saying, just keep going, Mom. Just get to that little fatigue place. And she did one set, and she's like, okay, I think I've got there. And anyway, she goes to see the therapist that afternoon. Maybe a couple hours later, she walks in. The therapist puts her hands on her, starts moving her leg around, and the hip. This is a true story. Her hip now has gained all the motion that they were trying to gain in the last couple weeks prior to this. The only difference that she'd been in rehab 2 days prior. She did these bands that morning, and Mom talks about as soon as she took the bands off, she felt like she was walking different. Dad's talking about how she looks like she's walking more fluidly, and she gets there, and then the therapist has got that comment of like, well, the rehab must be working. All those exercises I gave you for your home exercise must be helping. And so it was one of those thankful things that not being there and be able to do it myself or help see those pieces was very rewarding. My dad's got all kinds of heart issues. Dad doesn't move very well. He's got a pacemaker. He's got AFib. His heart's just not great right now. He has trouble, had trouble getting up from the couch and walking, the 10, 15 steps to get to the kitchen, that sort of thing. And he put the bands on. He's still not, he's not going to be racing anybody. He's not doing much, but he can now make it to the kitchen much easier. He's getting in and out of the chair easier. And it's just all he's doing is basically having on there and put the pressure up. He's kicking his leg out a few times. He's lifting his arms up a little bit and getting a better quality of life from these, where he typically would not be able to have the cardiac output to have any sort of training at all. So it's been one of those things where anecdotally, I'm seeing it in myself. I'm seeing it in my clients. I'm seeing it in my parents. It's been pretty remarkable.